Hey everyone, your designers are here. I'm Anita with Cedar Hill Farmhouse.
And I'm Yvonne at Stone Gable.
And I'm Kelly with My Soulful Home.
We've got tips and tricks and decorating advice for you today, so let's get started.
Today is episode 68, and we're talking about incorporating industrial style into your home. And we all love industrial style, and I would venture to say we all have got a little taste of it in our homes. But some people might not be sure what it is. So industrial style is really founded in raw materials with purpose and with patina. And the look has evolved from the massive factories of the 19th century that were abandoned and then ultimately remodeled into loft spaces and homes. And oftentimes that's happened in sort of downtown areas that have become gentrified, such as Tribeca in Manhattan. And Tribeca, for those who are not sure what it means, it stands for the triangle below Canal Street, and it's in Lower Manhattan. And I actually lived there for quite some time. And I did not live in a giant loft space, but I definitely lived in a section of a loft space that had some industrial elements. And I love that look. It tends to be pretty clean and straightforward. And it's bold in its own way in the use of the raw materials. And I think that it's a look that really works with almost any look. It can have a modern edge to it. I love it mashed up with a more feminine look. And
it would go very well with French furniture. It just would blend beautifully.
Everything goes
but
well with
that's right. A
furniture.
French chair works in every decor.
Yes.
Well, we live in the oldest inland city in the United States, Lancaster County, Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And there were so many of these beautiful big warehouses in our urban area in the downtown. And I'm so glad they didn't tear them down.
Oh, me too.
I know. We have restaurants and shops and apartments and living spaces all in those beautiful old warehouses. And they're just gorgeous, and they've sort of they fixed up the outside and kept the inside pretty industrial looking. So it's really a fun place to go and be and shop. It's very hip or hipster in the downtown area.
Oh, I love that. I would not have thought of that.
Oh,
Yvonne.
very
I'm
much
thinking
so.
about
either, but
more of the farmland where you are.
Well, outside of Lancaster, absolutely. But in Lancaster proper, again, it's the oldest inland city.
Wow.
And it was I think it was the capital for like a day or something. Very steeped into Revolutionary War history, settled in 1611. So it has a lot of history to it. Very, very steeped in history.
Awesome.
But they're doing that a lot in Houston here too. They're taking old buildings. I know, for example, there's a place in the Heights that was a washateria that's now a place where you can go buy hipster popsicles.
There you go.
That's all they have there, popsicles. But right, there's so many of these old buildings that they've converted into lofts that it's so exciting for me to see that, because the tearing down of everything is just so disturbing for us. It's
sad.
Buildings.
It is very sad. And thank goodness Lancaster has really decided, instead of tearing down, they are going to refurbish and repurpose their buildings. So we see a lot of that. And
okay, so let's talk about the hallmarks of the industrial style. So I'll throw one out. Exposed beams. You guys want to add some?
Oh, brick walls.
Reclaimed wood.
Yeah. And raw cement flooring or cement block walls and metal in a sort of a distressed finish.
Exposed brick.
Yeah. So the whole idea is that when these factories were up and running, they weren't going to sheetrock everything and close it in and, put up draperies and make it all fluffy and fancy for whether it was, some sort of sweatshop or it was some sort of, grain factory or whatever it is. It was all going to be raw and exposed and normally high ceilings and things like that. But it's the the visibility of what would normally be sort of internal elements, or, brick that would have been smeared and covered up with stucco or some sort of sheetrocking, or cement flooring that would have been carpeted or tiled, all those things being left exposed.
Yeah, like air vents, exposed pipes. They're now elevated as great decor.
Right. And that it's actually an architectural element. These, otherwise people are, oh my gosh, nobody would have, when everybody had their avocado appliances, nobody was going to be like, that's such a great galvanized steel air vent. Let's do that.
Well, things have changed. Well, and I think you've kind of said this, but I just want to restate it, Kelly, and that is that this industrial style goes with so many decor styles, whether it's something very masculine or even something very feminine. It really works with things that are traditional and things that are more contemporary.
Right. So if you find yourself drawn to that, we're going to explain to you today how you can incorporate that in your look, no matter really what your look is. The industrial style is going to give a room a little edge that might not have had before. And especially, here comes one of our fave words, when you've got that juxtaposition. Right? Like we could all say it together. We knew what word was coming. And when you're juxtaposing it with, if it's not all industrial style, I don't like anything to be all one style of anything.
I think it would be too rough. I think it would be too harsh if it was all industrial.
Well, or very minimalistic. You can't have a lot of extra if you're going all industrial.
Right. Which is a little probably hard to live with unless you're like a single guy living in this fabulous downtown loft, and you really just
and you're a neat freak.
Right. You come home to change your clothes to go out to another fabulous party or something like that. So if you're
right.
living in your house and you've got other people living in your house with you, and certainly if you've got kids and dogs and things like that, probably going to mix in industrial style in individual pieces or an architectural accent or something like that. So one of you guys want to jump in and give some ideas about how you might incorporate that?
Before we do that, could I just say this? I think that if you are looking for a little update, if things are looking a little tired, but your furniture isn't exactly tired, maybe just replacing a piece of it with something industrial makes a very big difference on how it will look.
Yeah.
That's a good point. And I actually went to an auction and found this super cool. And this is a great place to go to get things that are really industrial, not look like industrial, but the real McCoy. I went and bought a trolley cart that was used in some sort of factory, I think in Germany. It has the ID, the serial number on it and the name of the company. And it's very old. It's a wood trolley cart. It's got wheels on the bottom. And I'm using it as a coffee table. But it's so rustic, so much patina, so much awesomeness, so unique. I love using it in the house.
And you can, if you can't find the real thing, there are so many knockoffs that are like that, because that's a very popular look. You were very fortunate to find that, Anita.
Well, we're a little bit on the track of where you can find it. And so then we'll circle back and tell you what you should be looking for. But one idea of where to find it is your hardware store. You're looking for raw materials after all, right? So what is the best place to go look for some sort of inexpensive, budget-friendly raw materials is your local hardware store. And the big box hardware stores like Home Depot and whatnot are good for this too. But, maybe the mom and pop shop that has sort of that odd metal thing, like you don't even know what you would do with it, but you can incorporate that somehow into a vignette or something. Or I've taken ductwork, parts of ductwork, like the caps for them, and I've made succulent containers out of them. And
that is such a good idea.
That's just a little bit of an edge. You may not even say, oh, that's clearly industrial looking, but it really is. It's the hard metal, and you can incorporate it into your other surroundings in a really easy, inexpensive way. Another thing you can get at a hardware store is really rough hewn wood. If you're going with the industrial style, the part of the charm is the patina and the wear. And so if you can't find something that's already worn by the, just time, you can find something that's a little rougher to start with. And that might be something that you want to shiplap a wall with. And it's super cheap.
Or even
Right.
just stain it. If you
Yeah.
stain something like that, I think it'll put a little edge on it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So- little
And if
age.
you want a
Mhm.
brick wall, you don't have one, you can use a brick veneer
Yes.
from a big
Great
box
idea.
store and just put that on the wall that you already have.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Another great way to incorporate it in an inexpensive way is one of our favorite spray paints, that Krylon Matte Black. And that, anything spray painted a matte black is going to have sort of an edge to it, right? Just think of black is just sort of an edgy color. And even if you spray painted, like I did with my garbage cans or one of those ash cans, and you put a fern in it, that adds a little edge to it, and it brings in a little bit of an industrial feel. But let's talk about some specific items that we think would be hallmarks of the industrial look that people could then incorporate into their own houses.
And I've got something really easy that's very common throughout, that's probably the most common thing to add industrial style to your house, and that is open shelving with this metal and the wood, kind of the wood, just kind of very rustic looking.
Yeah,
And-
I think that's a great point. And the metal shelving, or the metal, sort of frame for the shelving is oftentimes piping. And again,
Right.
that's something you can get really inexpensively at your local hardware store, and you could DIY it. There's zillions of blog posts out there in the universe on how to do that. Or if you had somebody who was a skilled carpenter, they could do that for you. So you're talking
But
about
you
a
can
few
also
planks
buy
and
it.
some pipes.
You can also buy it already, ready to go. But it's already been designed, built, put together for you.
Yeah. And
Or
we'll
if you're
put some
industrious, you
links.
can do it yourself. Yeah.
Yes, if you're an industrial stylist. Something
like that.
Good one. I think another thing is, you were talking about your trolley as a coffee table, but there's so many great coffee tables out there that have an industrial style.
Oh, there's so many copies of what I
Yes.
have the real thing
Well,
of that look like trolleys, and they've got the wheels. Mm-hmm.
But even if you don't want to go the trolley, because it's usually pretty low, you can get a regular height coffee table. And the hallmark of that is just that reclaimed wood and lots of metal, and very angular, very, or like sharp edges.
And mine actually has 2 shelves.
Oh, wow. That's pretty
So
cool.
mine actually is taller. But I think that is you can get something taller. You don't have to go with that low trolley look.
And you can even get them that have really interesting fittings, like going diagonally across the legs that cross over, in that space between the table and the floor, that have sort of fittings on them that look so interesting and very, very industrial. And that's a nice way just to bring a little bit of an edginess and a fun into a room.
Oh yeah,
And
I've
it's
seen-
safe. It's safe.
Right. And then you can also get an old table with reclaimed wood on it. And like you've said, you can buy a new table that has reclaimed wood on it, or it just looks reclaimed.
I have one, so I'll put it in the show notes.
Well, and you've got
and
your
where I got it
concrete
from.
top table. I think that's an excellent way to add that industrial style.
That's
I
a
would
dining
consider
room.
that.
But however, my concrete table has an industrial feel, but because the rest of it is very more upscale and refined, like the base of it, it's just a very interesting look. So it works both ways.
Right. I'm going to put, yeah, exactly. But I think it does add that touch of industrial because it's the concrete.
Right. And if you want to be adding some sort of accent wall, and you're tending towards the bricks, I would highly recommend you go for the aged bricks. They're a little bit more expensive than the regular brand new red cut bricks. So a regular,
and you can add that German schmear to it.
You can always do a
with the
German
paint.
schmear.
Or buy
but-
veneered bricks, so you don't
Exactly.
have
Well,
to lose any space.
Yeah. So the old bricks are, you can still find them, and people do, reclaim them from different sites when buildings come down, and that's obviously where they get them from. So they're a little bit more expensive because they're labor intensive to then preserve. So they'll run you about $1 each, whereas the regular bricks, new bricks, are about 30 cents each. So, but wow, that, if you're just doing a small area, that's pretty fabulous look, and you're going to get a lot of style for not that much money.
And here's an idea that would actually save you money, and it's a really cool look. I know it's very popular here in Texas, for, I have actually pier and beam foundation, so I can't use this on my house. But if you have a concrete slab house with carpet over that, but you can, and you want something a little cooler looking, more, just something different, but you can't afford the wood floors, rip that carpet up, stain your carpets, stain your concrete, seal it. And I think that's a fabulous look. I've seen some floors where they've done the concrete like that, and it's gorgeous.
And Anita, I love the polished concrete. That is gorgeous. And I don't know the process of it, but I've seen it. And it does have an industrial edge to it, but it's also very refined because it's so highly polished.
We did that in our last house, and we didn't use the garage as a garage because it was like threading a needle to get the SUV down the driveway. So we it was various things over the course of the time, but at the last couple of years, it was like a hangout room for the girls, and I actually did it myself.
What is the process, Kelly?
You have to etch the cement, especially if it's a garage space that there may have been some stains, or if you're in a home where maybe it's an older home and there was some stains on the concrete before. You can try to get those out, but the etching really gives it, makes it a little bit more porous. And so you want to etch it, and then there's a liquid chemical that you need to be super careful with that. But you put that down, you etch it.
Because it would etch you.
It would
right?
etch you. Yeah. Get it in your eyes. But then you pick the concrete stain, and I got it right off the shelf at Home Depot. I picked 2 different colors. I had a black and then a sort of a deeper brown with some red tones in it. And I did it just on my hands and knees, swirling it in to get the effect that I wanted.
What, a brush? How did you swirl it?
With a rag.
Oh,
nice.
And it was not that big of a space. It was probably, 20 by 20 or something like that. So
That's pretty big to be on your hands and knees doing.
Maybe she had those knee pads.
I would do section, and then the concrete block that we had in there, it had the lines in it. So it was kind of a natural stop. So I would stop, but then I would try to, obviously recreate the pattern as I was going along. So it probably took me 3 or 4 days to do it. And then you can put a coating on it. So you put the varnish on top of it, depending if you wanted it shiny or matte. And I applied that with kind of like a Swiffer type mop with a sponge on it, like a spongy mop, old-fashioned spongy mop. And just went back and just, made my way out of the room. And then I went back and did it again.
Wow.
It was really fabulous. And you could spill anything on it. And it was not porous at that point after it was polished. So yeah, I think that's a great look, and it's clearly industrial look.
2 caveats with that. Go ahead. So the 2 caveats are, if you like dishes, be careful because anything that drops on this floor is not going to fare well. Like
and if you like your iPhone.
Or your iPhone, that can be a bit of a problem. Yes. Those of us that are a little droppy, that may be a problem. And then the other thing I was going to say is, if you have a cracked slab that hopefully it's been repaired, but then that's going to show up if you pull that carpet up. And so if you don't want to be advertising that, you might not want to do this.
Or sometimes that cracked slab, just go with it because it gives it character.
Yeah, I had some cracks.
Except that
my slab is cracked in some places, and I'm just going with it.
Here, when people know you have a cracked slab, it's kind of a death sentence.
Oh, it's a bad
They don't want to buy it. Yes.
Oh, I see.
So
it's a foundational issue.
So you have to be honest over that crack.
Hey, I'm saying you can't lie about it, but you might not want to advertise the fact that it was.
Good point. Don't you just love a great recommendation from a friend? Well, we're delighted to be recommending these companies and their wonderful products to you today. And let them know your friends at DTT sent you. Inevitably, with the new year come wellness goals. One very effective and easy to reach goal is to add Dose to your wellness regime. Dose is expertly formulated organic wellness shots that support your liver in one delicious drink. Formulated with ingredients clinically shown to support liver health. Potent turmeric, milk thistle, and ginger. There's 0 sugar and 0 calories. Did you know that your liver performs over 500 special functions? Since I learned all that my liver is doing, I started with Dose to support all those vital functions. I take a shot of refreshing Dose 2 times per week to combat everyday toxins from food, meds, alcohol, and unhealthy air. Since starting with Dose about a month ago, I am definitely feeling an overall improvement in my health. So if you want to give Dose a shot and invest in your health like I have, Dose is offering DTT listeners 15% off your first order, plus an additional 15% off if you subscribe for a monthly delivery. That's 30% off your first order. So go to dosedaily.co/DTT and use the code DTT. That's dosedaily.co.co/DTT and use the code DTT. Pesto pork chops over Parmesan polenta. Not that easy to say, but oh so easy to make with Green Chef. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit company for eating well, and we have such a great deal for you. You're going to save $250. Listen on for the details on that. Green Chef makes eating well easy for any lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat more balanced meals. You know, we're getting into the busy holiday season, so it's a perfect time to have Green Chef help you out. Let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season with their chef-crafted, nutritionist-approved recipes featuring fresh ingredients and nothing artificial. And you know what? You don't have to lose track of your healthy eating habits during the holidays. Every Green Chef customer gets a free session with their registered dietitians who will walk you through how to make clean eating work for you. So sign up for your free session and start on the road towards better health today. And that deal I want to tell you about, visit greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order. So that's greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order. Okay, so let's get back to industrial style. Here's a super easy tip. And, you know, maybe on its own in a vacuum, it's not going to scream industrial style to anybody, but it will get you on the road to having a little industrial style. Change some of your light bulbs that you can see to the Edison bulbs. That is a classic industrial style decorative piece. And I did something recently, and it's actually on the porch. And I'm going to probably go a little deeper into my porch and some details in another post. But this was the one that came out the other day, was just kind of like, hey, have a look. I'm on this pretty tour. But I took just a lamp base that I've had forever. I don't know where I got it. It was some, inexpensive store. And I took a little wire, I guess it's like a planter or something. And I just pushed the where the finial would be through the wire and made a shade out of it. Screwed the finial back on, and I put an Edison bulb in there, and it's so fab. And you can see the Edison bulb with the filament, which I love, and the little shade is kind of chicken wiry, so you can see right through it. So if you've got something like that you can convert and use an Edison bulb, I think that'll just give you a great little industrial touch.
And the Edison bulbs aren't that hard in your eyes.
No, they're lovely.
Yeah, so you can keep them without any kind of shade at all. Right. I'm going to talk about, since you're saying juxtaposition, let's say you get that coffee table and now you just want to go a little further. I love distressed oriental rugs. And they are, they do have a bit of this industrial look that we like so much. They look like they've been old. They've probably been
and it's
worn
from
out.
That era. People would have had that then.
They would have, but they look so beautiful with a little bit of the industrial style along with them.
And it would look gorgeous on top of that concrete, the stained concrete.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful.
Oh, and layer rugs, layer rugs, layer old ratty rugs. That's because that gives you such a cool look. I mean, don't get them out of your, dumpster or anything. They have these great sort of distressed acid washed looking rugs that are just spectacular.
Oh, gorgeous. I agree with you. The other thing that people don't realize you can add this are the rustic exposed beams. Some people think my house doesn't have them, so I can't have them, but that's not true. A lot of these beams are decorative that you can add later.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
So
And they
that's
don't
fine.
have to be the super expensive, like, oh, this was reclaimed from a barn in Vermont. When reclaimed first came out, that is really what you could get, which is fabulous and is the real deal. And if you can afford it, or you're just going to get a couple, go for it if you can. But there are so many reproductions now of reclaimed
that look fabulous.
And type of materials that, and if it's that high up on your ceiling, and kind of like Yvonne says about the faux plants, if you can't tell from a fair
3 feet
distance
away,
you're in pretty good shape, and you're always going to probably be 3 feet away from your ceiling. So that might not be something I would buy a large amount of online, but if you could get a sample from wherever you might be purchasing a new looking reclaimed piece of wood, get a sample and see how you feel about it.
And Kelly, let me add to that. Reclaim does not have to be expensive. I don't think mine were that expensive, and they really are the real deal. We went to a salvage yard. So look in your area to see if because people are really understanding of the historical significance, and when buildings are torn down, now people know better, and they keep things like the beams from the building and the old doors and the hardware. So
yeah, good point. And we have a lot of that here, and you probably do too in Houston. But sometimes if you're living in a place where you're not around something like that, it really gets you is the shipping. You're shipping giant pieces of wood.
Right. So check in your area. There might be something nearby. You look online, Google it, because most people don't deal with salvage yards. So there may be one near you that you just don't know about.
That's an excellent, excellent idea.
Good tip.
But you can get way more than industrial style at a salvage yard. You can get farmhouse. You can just get an old house. But when we're talking about industrial style, you want to make sure things come from like an look or some kind of an industrial space.
Another great way to incorporate it in a bathroom is just to get a sink that mounts to the wall and have the pipes be exposed.
Oh, I love that look.
And it can obviously, sometimes it's in a house and it's just because they didn't spend the extra money. Maybe it was a spec house or something like that. But hey, if you've got that,
play it up.
Exactly. Turn it into industrial look if you like that. You can even, I did this in the powder room where I have the unlacquered brass faucet. That's not my favorite. But
yes.
I, like it. I didn't want it because I had spent the extra money for the under piping and all of that to be the unlacquered brass in the master bathroom and my girls' bathroom. But I didn't want to spend the extra money for the, the valve faucets and all that to be unlacquered brass in the powder room. And I figured since it doesn't it's not getting a ton of use, it's not a shower, people aren't touching those pipes underneath. I just painted them.
Great idea.
And
Great idea.
They look
spray
great.
Paint?
No, I didn't spray paint. That would, even though I'm really good at spray painting, I just get it on that little pipe.
You could have done it.
Brush marks when you painted it on?
Probably could have done it. But I just got one of those little tiny jars. Well, I got 3 of them, little tiny jars of what would look like an unlacquered brass, like an aged brassy color or gold. And I just, with a little brush, painted them. And
you go, girl.
Did the brush marks show up, or did that kind of go away?
Because I think I did 3 coats by the time my third coat was there. No.
Very
good
nice.
for you.
And now only you and Yvonne and
anybody
all
listening.
of our listeners. If you come and if I see someone laying down on the floor in my powder room looking up for the brush strokes, I'll know you've been listening to the podcast.
I'm definitely going to look at that. Only because, not because I'm looking for your brush strokes, just because I want to see how cool it looks.
Yeah. It does look pretty good.
Brilliant.
Well, it's one of those things where it's not screaming out at you, but it's just, it finishes it off.
Ding, 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 ding.
Ding,
tip
ding,
of the
ding,
day.
ding. Tip of the
Very
day,
good.
tip of the day. But, that's how a sink would be if there was, a washroom in this factory or something like that. We're not going to have a pedestal. They weren't going to have a cabinet and a vanity under it. They're going to hang it off the wall. I
think subway tile goes well with that look.
Oh, subway tile is
beautiful.
Perfect. I mean, that's really where subway tile has its genesis, I believe.
Right.
Is
Absolutely.
19th century factories.
It is,
yeah.
It's an industrial piece. Here's the thing. What we're saying is that the raw materials of the industrial style look fabulous with anything a little more refined.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a great way to decorate. And it's an amazing contrast. So you just want to, pick a piece or two and add it to your room. And you'll be amazed at how much better it'll look, how interesting it is. And even just like those orb balls, that are made out of oil rub bronze. I make them out of embroidery hoops. They're so easy. I'll put that up in the show notes.
I love that.
But even something just that small that you're going to use as an accent piece will really make a difference in how your room looks, because you want your room to look interesting.
Oh,
and
how about
a little
that
unexpected.
The zinc look.
Green Chef is a delicious delight any time of year, but especially during the holidays. What a wonderful vision to behold as the Green Chef boxes on your doorstep. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit for eating well. And it makes eating well so easy with plans to fit every lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat a more balanced diet. So let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season. And if you've got guests coming, shop Green Bundles. They're now available at the Green Market. It's your one-stop shop for nutritious grab-and-go breakfasts, including vegan options, brunch kits, wholesome lunches, ready-to-eat snacks, veggie sides, and more. You can feel your best this December and do your best with Green Chef because they offset 100% of the delivery emissions as well as 100% of the plastic in every box. Go to greenchef.com/60DTT and use the code 60DTT and get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months. greenchef.com/60DTT and use the code 60DTT to get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months. Go ahead, clean out your closet, then head straight to Quince. I love every item Quince offers, from wardrobe to decor, and I can really recommend their Ultra Stretch Super Wide Leg Pant at $49.90. The price is unbeatable, and the look is so flattering. It keeps you in on top and flares out of the bottom. Everything feels right with Quince. The price, the quality, and the sustainability. Quince offers a range of luxury wardrobe and home goods at prices within reach. And like Quince's clothing, their home goods are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices, along with premium fabrics and finishes. Once you've cleaned out your closet and refreshed with Quince, you can also add something to your home decor. So give your wardrobe and your home the refresh it needs with Quince. Go to quince.com/DTT to get free shipping and 365-day returns on your next order. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/DTT for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/DTT. And let me know how you love those pants. Love that zinc.
Yeah, I think that looks industrial too.
Oh, yeah. The zinc is like the galvanized look. And you're making me think, we were talking about this before, and you could do it on the exterior of your home too. What we did here to give the house a little edge is we did factory metal doors in the back.
Oh, I love them.
So do I.
They're of the era of the house, and they're the metal doors with the individual panes of glass. And then I was able to reclaim some hardware that was just in the barn, and so we used that for the doorknobs, so they have some ornateness to them. But everything is a matte black with gold. And
you really need to go see it. They're gorgeous.
Yeah, I'll put some pictures on. But that's juxtaposed. Then when in my front porch I have this gingerbread, and so you might think, oh gosh, how do those two elements work together? But I venture to say they really are working. Everybody says something about these doors and that they really love them. So I think it is really working. So you can mash it up. It doesn't have to all be one look.
Did you take out 2 French doors to put those in? I'm just curious what was there before.
Oh,
there was a barn door?
No, there was this sad little door. It was just a sad little kind of one of those pitted aluminum doors.
So just a regular size door, but aren't your new doors, aren't there 2 doors, or is it just 1?
There are 2 doors and then 2 big side. Like they're 16 feet It's 16 feet.
So
the
you
whole
had
piece.
some wall taken out then to do this?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
What I have to say, you're not afraid to knock a wall out, paint a concrete floor. You go, girl. This house is quite a DIY project, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Knock down a wasp or two, right?
Yeah.
Look
you
at
know.
them. They are gorgeous.
Mhm.
Thank you. Thank
Check
you.
out
But, so you
Kelly's
can
work.
incorporate that look inside and outside too. If you like that look, maybe the light fixtures outside your house, just give it a little. And if that's what your look is in the inside, that's giving a little clue to what's going to happen, that you've got this little edge to it, this little industrial edge. I really love this look. And I know we guys do too.
Yeah,
It's
I
easy to
definitely
find-
have it in many of my rooms in my house.
It's easy to find the pendants in the industrial style as well that look like they belonged in a factory. So go look. There's a ton of them out there. I can't even begin to start.
Almost
There's so many to choose from.
Almost any home decor site carries them.
Mm-hmm. Some of them look kind of like the barn lights, but some of them look more factory-like. But all of those would work.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Girls, we've covered a lot for industrial style, and we're just hoping that anyone listening, if you don't have any incorporated, that you'll give it a try and have fun with it. But remember, we're here to inspire you to create a beautiful home. Until next time.
Hey there. If you're loving our podcast like we're loving our podcast, we would love you to rate and review us. Head to iTunes to do that. It's easy, and it would mean so much to us. And if you do rate and review us, we're going to enter you to win a fantastic giveaway. The details for the giveaway are in the show notes for this episode, and you can find the show notes at decoratingtipsandtricks.com.